Time has a way of revealing what parents sometimes fail to see. The little boy who once threw toys across the living room had now grown into a confident young boy. It was time for Ethan Brooks to begin high school. Ethan was ready to begin a new chapter of his life. The years passed quickly. Jordan and Vanessa were proud. They enrolled Ethan in one of the most prestigious private schools in the city, a school attended by children from influential families, diplomats, and successful business leaders. Jordan and Vanessa believed they were giving their son the very best education money could buy. But there was one lesson no school could teach in place of a parent. The little habits his parents once dismissed as just childish behavior never disappeared. They simply grew with him. But now, Ethan was no longer a little boy. He was a teenager. He's handsome, intelligent, confident, and convinced that the world revolved around him. His father's name opened doors wherever he went. Teachers knew exactly who he was. Students admired his wealth. Some wanted to be his friends, while others feared him. To Ethan, respect was something people owed him, not something he had to earn. And before long, the school would begin to discover the kind of young man he was becoming. It didn't take long for Ethan's true character to reveal itself. The cheerful little boy his parents saw at home became a completely different person once he walked through the school gates. Ethan made new friends, a name, and confidence his peers admire. He wasn't the strongest student, he wasn't the most intelligent, but he had something many teenagers admired: money. And to Ethan, money meant power. One morning, in the classroom, the mathematics teacher walks into the class. Everyone stands. "Good morning, sir." The teacher nods. Everyone sits down. Everyone except Ethan. He remains leaning back in his chair, scrolling through his expensive phone beneath the desk. The teacher walked to Ethan and said, "Ethan, phones are not allowed during my lesson. Please put it away." Without even looking up, Ethan said, "I'll put it away when I'm done." The classroom became silent. The teacher pauses. He has never heard a student answer him that way. "Ethan, that wasn't a request," the teacher said. Then slowly Ethan raises his head, looks around the classroom, then smirks. He slips the phone into his pocket, not because he respected the teacher, but because he simply chooses to. During lunch, a younger student accidentally bumps into Ethan while carrying a tray. The food spills. The younger boy quickly apologizes. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to." Ethan laughed. He pushes the boy's tray aside with his foot. His friends laughed with him. The younger boy quietly bends down to pick up the food. No apology, no remorse. Later that week, the teachers begin comparing notes. The first teacher said, "He's brilliant, but he refuses to follow instructions." The second teacher said, "He talks back whenever he's corrected." The third teacher said, "The other students are beginning to copy his attitude." The concern in the staff room grew. Pride goes before destruction, but pride rarely appears overnight. It grows quietly, fed by excuses, unchecked behaviors, and the belief that actions have no consequences. For years, Ethan had been protected from the result of his choices. Now, those choices are beginning to affect everyone around him. The school hoped he would change, but Ethan believed he had no reason to. Weeks turned into months, and Ethan's behavior only became worse. What began as disrespect soon grew into intimidation. Classmates avoided him. Some students were afraid to report him, while others simply stayed out of his way. The teachers had tried counseling him. They had spoken to him privately. They had given him chance after chance. Nothing changed. One afternoon, the English teacher asked the class to submit their assignments. One by one, the students walked to the front. When it was Ethan's turn, he remained seated. The teacher asked, "Ethan, where is your assignment?" Ethan didn't even look up. Ethan replied, "I didn't do it." The teacher was surprised. "Why?" he asked. Ethan shrugged. "Because I didn't feel like it." A few students exchanged nervous glances. The teacher took a deep breath. "Then they'll have to stay behind after class and complete it." Ethan laughed, not quietly, but loud enough for everyone to hear. "You can't keep me after class." The room fell silent. The teacher stood still. For the first time, she realized that Ethan wasn't simply being difficult. He believed he was untouchable. The following morning, Jordan and Vanessa were invited to the school. They entered the principal's office. The atmosphere was serious. The principal folded his hands on the desk. "Mr. Brooks, Mrs. Brooks, thank you for coming. This meeting isn't about one incident. It's about a pattern that has continued for months." He opened the folder. Inside were reports from different teachers. Disrespect, bullying, ignoring instructions, speaking rudely to staff, refusing consequences. The principal looked directly at Jordan. "Your son is intelligent," the principal said. "He has leadership qualities, but without humility and discipline, those same qualities could become dangerous." A heavy silence filled the room. Vanessa lowered her eyes. For the first time, she began to wonder if the teachers had been right all along. But Jordan leaned forward. "With all due respect, Principal, teenagers make mistakes. Ethan is still growing. I'm sure he'll mature with time." The principal nodded slowly. Then he said quietly, "I truly hope so, Mr. Brooks, because if he doesn't learn the consequences of his actions at home, life will eventually teach him in a much harder way." Those words lingered in the room long after the meeting ended. But some warnings are only understood after it's too late. Jordan left the school believing the problem had been exaggerated. The principal watched them drive away with a heavy heart. After the meeting with the principal, Jordan promised Vanessa he would speak to Ethan, but that conversation never happened. Life became busy again. Business meetings, international trips, boardroom decisions, and the warning from the school slowly faded into the background. At home one evening, the family gathered for dinner. Jordan looked at Ethan. "I heard you've been giving your teachers a hard time." Ethan shrugged without looking up from his phone. "They're just too sensitive." Vanessa waited, expecting Jordan to correct him. Instead, Jordan smiled faintly. "Just try not to get into trouble again." "I won't," Ethan replied. He said it so casually that Vanessa knew he didn't mean it. Back at school, days later, a teacher confiscated Ethan's phone after he ignored repeated warnings. Instead of apologizing, Ethan stood up. "Do you know who my father is?" The classroom went silent. The teacher stared at him in disbelief. "That doesn't change the school rules, Ethan." He laughed. "We'll see about that." That afternoon, Jordan received a call from a member of the school's board of governors, someone he had known for years through business. The board member explained that there had been another complaint involving Ethan. Jordan sighed. Later that evening, he made a few phone calls. Within days, the situation was quietly resolved. No suspension, no formal punishment, just another warning. Ethan noticed something. Every time he crossed the line, someone powerful stepped in to protect him. Slowly, he stopped fearing consequences. He began to believe that his father's influence placed him above everyone else. Respect was no longer something Ethan wanted to earn. He wanted people to fear him instead. And sadly, fear is a poor substitute for respect. By the time Ethan turned 17, his parents had almost completely lost control of him. He came home whenever he wanted, he ignored curfews, he surrounded himself with friends who admired his money more than his character. Jordan and Vanessa still hoped he would eventually change, but hope without action rarely changes anything. One Friday night, Ethan's friends convinced him to go to one of the city's most exclusive nightclubs. Music filled the room, lights flashed, everyone knew who Ethan Brooks was. Some welcomed him because of his father's influence, others simply wanted to be seen with him. As the night went on, Ethan became louder, more reckless, and more arrogant. He mocked staff members, argued with security, and behaved as though the rules didn't apply to him. One of his friends laughed and whispered, "Bro, nobody can touch you. Your dad owns half this city anyway." Ethan smirked. Exactly. Neither of them noticed a young content creator standing by had quietly begun recording the entire incident on a phone. Within minutes, the video captured Ethan insulting staff, causing a disturbance, and refusing to listen when security asked him to calm down. The creator uploaded the clip before the night was over. By sunrise, thousands had already watched it. By lunchtime, it had spread across social media, and by evening, the whole country knew the name Ethan Brooks. But Ethan wasn't the only person whose life was about to change. By the following morning, the video had spread far beyond the nightclub. It was on social media, entertainment blogs, and news pages. Millions of people had watched Ethan Brooks insult staff and create chaos in public. But what shocked people even more was discovering whose son he was. Jordan Brooks arrived at his headquarters like any other day, expecting another busy schedule of meetings and business deals. As he walked through the reception area, he noticed something unusual. Employees who normally greeted him with smiles suddenly became quiet. Some looked away, others whispered to one another. Jordan frowned. He didn't understand why. He stepped into his executive office and placed his briefcase on the desk. Moments later, his assistant rushed in, holding a tablet. Nervously, he said, "Sir, I think you need to see this." Jordan took the tablet. He pressed play. For several seconds, he said nothing. The office was silent except for the sound of Ethan's voice coming from the video. When it ended, Jordan slowly lowered the tablet. His face has changed, not with anger, but with disappointment. He leaned back in his chair and whispered, "What have you done, Ethan?" The call begins. Before Jordan could gather his thoughts, his phone rang. It was one of his international business partners. They spoke briefly. Jordan's expressions grew more serious. Another call came in, then another call. One client postponed an important contract. Another investor requested time to review the partnership. A charity organization quietly removed Jordan from an upcoming public event, saying they wanted to avoid negative publicity. Jordan had spent decades building a respected name. In less than 24 hours, that reputation had been shaken. For the first time in years, Jordan realized the success in business could not protect a family from the consequences of poor character. And waiting for him at home was a conversation Ethan could no longer escape. The viral video did more than embarrass the Brooks family. It placed them under a spotlight they had never experienced before. Journalists began digging into Jordan Brooks' business empire. Regulators reopened old investigations, and former employees started speaking out. Within weeks, financial authorities uncovered serious corporate misconduct that had been hidden for years. Jordan Brooks was arrested and charged. His company lost major contracts, investors withdrew their support, and the board of directors voted to remove him as chief executive officer. The empire he had spent decades building began to crumble, not because of one video alone, but because the spotlight exposed everything he had been hiding. At home, the once lively mansion was silent. Luxury cars had been sold, household staff had left, the family's lifestyle had changed overnight. Vanessa sat quietly, holding back her tears. Ethan walked downstairs. For the first time, there was no driver waiting outside, no bodyguards, no expensive phone, no designer clothes. Jordan, now released on bail, looked at his son with tired eyes. Do you know what hurts me the most? It isn't losing the company. It's knowing that I gave you every comfort, but failed to teach you responsibility. I protected you from every consequence until life delivered consequences neither of us could escape. Ethan couldn't speak. Tears rolled down his face. For the first time in his life, he truly understood the weight of his actions. Jordan made a final decision. Ethan would no longer live the life he had always known. His luxury cars were sold, his bank cards were cancelled, he was transferred to a modest school. He took part-time work for classes, learned the value of honesty, discipline, and hard work. Every privilege he once enjoyed had been earned, not because his parents stopped loving him, but because they had finally learned what real love requires. Loving correction gives a child wisdom, but a child left without guidance brings sorrow. Jordan learned that success cannot replace parenting. Vanessa learned that protecting a child from every hardship can prepare them for none. And Ethan learned that character, not wealth, is a person's greatest inheritance. Some lessons come through gentle instruction, others arrive through painful consequences. The Brooks family learned theirs the hard way. Give your children love, but also guidance. Give them kindness, but also correction. Because one day, the values you teach at home will matter far more than the wealth you leave behind.